Hey guys, it's Hannah from the Gloria Living channel. Today we are going to be talking garden trellises, how to keep your plants vertical off the ground. It's healthy for them, and there's tons of ways to do it. So let's check it out. There's a million different ways that people trellis up their garden plants. We're just today going to show you the ones that we use in our garden. They are simple, they're easy, anybody can do it, and I want to show you them today. Some of the trellises that we're going to show you do require knowing some special knots on how to build them. They're easy to find online, but we're also going to show you in a video coming up soon some knots that are really helpful in the garden for building trellises and just tying up your different plants. But for now, I'm just going to show you what they look like. That'll give you kind of an idea of what you can be using. So I'm going to start with the most basic of trellises, which is really just a stake. This is the easiest type of trellis, and I'll show you the ways we're using it here on the patio. So you can see the bamboo here going into the pot, and the tree is just growing up next to it, and then I have it tied up to the bamboo, and that has held it up great and really worked because we have these apples growing on here, and honestly, especially at the tip here at the end, they're just too heavy for the tree. This method works great, and it just, especially if you're working in the ground, it works well, but it works great even in a pot. You can see here we're using the same method of having the stakes in the pots. These will hold up our tomato plants as they begin to fruit. Right now they're still small and they can hold themselves up because the most action we have going on is the flowering here, and this is not a surprise because of the type of, this is flowering before anything else because of the type of tomatoes that we have growing in this pot. But it is flowering first. Those other ones are going to be behind it really soon, and when they start fruiting they're going to need some assistance holding themselves up. And this works great. These stakes, even in a pot, work great to give it that extra support that it needs. Now, it's not like you can't just let the tomatoes or the cucumbers, which we're gonna look at next, grow all over the ground, but it's gonna be healthier for them to stay off the ground. It keeps bugs off them. It helps them fight off funguses and bacteria. You can keep them pruned easier. They're gonna keep less water on the leaves. All of this will produce a healthier plant. And in a place like Tennessee, like I'm in, very humid climate, it's really hard to keep off some of these funguses and blights that can really just take out your tomatoes. And so if you can keep them off the ground and grow them vertically, one, that saves you space, and two, it's going to keep them healthier and help you have a longer season away from the diseases. Okay, so that is method number one for how we trellis. I'm going to show you method number two for how we trellis here on the patio, and we also have a larger one at the garden, which I'll show you soon as well. But as far as finishing up how we do this on the patio, I want to show you these. These require a special knot to do them, but they're very simple, very easy, and honestly, I just love them. What you can actually see behind me here is a little tripod, and I'll show you some better angles. We have two others. This is holding up our grapevine. We have another one for our cantaloupe, which is taking forever to take off, and another one, though, for our cucumber, which it's already starting to support. These tripods are wonderful. You can either just tie the plant directly to the tripod, or you can create string going across. Tripods are very sturdy. They're good at standing up and keeping support and keeping balance. Three is just easier to keep up. You can do two. You could do two and try and vine it up, but three just creates more stability. So I'll show you what we have with the grapevine, and I'll show you how we're doing it differently, still using a tripod over with the cucumbers. Okay, so we've got it in our pot, and I've got the tripod pushed down into the soil here, and I don't have any string that it's climbing up onto. I just have it tied, the actual vines tied onto the post, and that's doing fine. That just keeps my vines off the ground. It'll keep my leaves healthier, gets more airflow, which is something you definitely want for grapevines. You don't want to have rot happening or have a breeding ground for fungus. So airflow is very important for plants, especially things like fruit. But anyways, with these grapevines, they're happy, and it's just an easy way to grow it in a pot. But let's go over to the cucumbers. I'll show you how I'm doing it a little different. Okay, so our cucumber plant is just starting to take off here, and you can see that we have our tripod. Well, you can see this hot pink string that me and the kids picked up. It's either that or orange, and the kids loved the pink. So it was just cheap at Harbor Freight. And it's not like the best string in the world, but it's working all right for this. And okay, so this, all I did is I zigzagged up two of the tripod poles. The other one on the back here is just for support. If the cucumber vine gets long enough and I need to go back down or whatever, we'll deal with that when we get there, but we've got a while. One of the other great things about bamboo is it does send off little shoots that we had to cut off these leaves, and it creates little bits of support that I've used to hold up this string. So another reason that bamboo is great, and they're obviously not perfectly symmetrical going up the bamboo, but it really helps. So what I'm going to do with this one, which I've already started doing, is I'm going to weave it in and over the string as it goes up, and that'll help support it. And hopefully this will work great. Bamboo is very strong, even though these are very thin, it should do great. Over here, we've got our very sad cantaloupe that is just taking forever to take off. I'm hoping it just will. And ironically, it has the biggest trellis. This trellis is the one that is the largest and the strongest, and yet its plant that it is waiting to support is the smallest out of all of them. So hopefully it'll come back. I've never really grown cantaloupe. I've got a pretty sandy soil, so you'd think it'd be happy, but it's just having a hard time. But hopefully it'll like this heat that's been coming and water it real well, and it'll do good. This is kind of an experiment, growing it in a pot, and we'll see how we trellis it. I haven't decided exactly how I'm going to go about it, but either way, I'm excited to try it out. These methods are not just good for growing in pots and containers, but they're also great for in the ground. The stakes work in the ground fabulous, and not the only way to trellis up tomatoes. I'm going to show you how we're trellising tomatoes in our large garden as well, but there's so many creative ways. If you have T-posts or strong posts and string, you can trellis things up. But although there are amazing ways that other people trellis, I'm going to show you the ways we do it in our garden that have been very affordable and very easy. As you can see here are nylon trellises. These are, I think, about 5-inch squares, and I think these might be about 25 feet long, and I think they're about 5 feet tall when they're stretched out to their max. We have them tied tightly, as tight as we can, onto T-posts, and this is what we trellis our tomato plants with. The reason we did this is because cattle panels are so expensive, and we just didn't want to invest in them. Maybe in the future we will, but right now it just wasn't the right time. So you do what you can when you can. These are affordable. This is the second season, and they're still very strong, and I have no doubt they'll last us for more seasons. We also use these for our cucumbers. We don't have as many cucumbers this year as we did last year. We were overrun with them, but they do all right. They do get stretched out. We're hoping this year we did a better job at getting them tightened onto the T-posts. That is the only downside of these nylon ones, but the upside is they're very, very easy to store. Okay, this crazy contraption that you see, if you can see this triangle here, it actually has 4 legs made from bamboo and has a special knot at the top. I think it's a lashing, but we're going to show you how to make one of these for trellising in your garden. Small versions for in buckets, and larger versions if you want to have fun and experiment like we are. This is where our butternut squash and our cantaloupe are. We also have some more things that we'll plant here in a few weeks, or maybe even within the week. But so far so good. We just tied string from the sides of the bamboo, and this is hopefully going to trellis up on the sides, and on the ground here is where we can walk through and hopefully pick our squash. Is this going to work? We have no idea. You know what though? We don't really care. It's kind of fun to experiment to see what works, what doesn't. We're gonna see if it works. Worst case scenario, we're picking butternut squash from the ground instead of on a trellis. But it's nice to be able to trellis these things up. Makes it easier to pick, nicer to pick, and it's just fun. Well guys, thank you so much for checking out the video. I hope it was helpful to you. There are so many cool ways to trellis up your plants in the garden. We just want to share with you the ways that we go about it in our garden. If you have never checked out the book, Vertical Gardening, it is so helpful. It is so cool. There are so many inspiring and creative ways of trellising in your garden. So definitely something I would recommend to look up. A great book. And don't forget to leave a comment. I'd love to hear the ways that you guys trellis up your plants, the things that have worked and the things that haven't. I love to hear what you guys are doing in your garden. So please feel free to leave a comment. I would love to hear from you. If this video was helpful to you, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends and your family. It's a great way to support us in creating this content for you. Thanks for tagging along again today. And until next time, guys, we'll see you soon.